Alright, we've got a 1996 Kawasaki 900 ZXI engine we're completely rebuilding. We've already got the bottom end replaced with a rebuilt SBT crankshaft. Ordered that through their exchange program because you can see this rod here on cylinder number 3 is bent. That most likely happened when we got water in the engine last season. So, we got that, shipping that back. Got that installed, got 1211 sealant in the crankcase. That worked pretty well. And so yeah, we're going to get the magneto cover on, the starter on, and we'll be moving on to putting the pistons. Alright, now that I got the crankcase back together, I'm going to replace the intake seals with these new gaskets. Got this in a kit from SBT also with all the parts. Let's see, here's all the gaskets on right here. This gasket right here goes to the carbs, so hold on to that, use that later. Right here are all the gaskets we needed right here for the intake reeds. There's the gasket that seal that. So we're going to go ahead and install those. Alright, there's going to be these bolts right here that you're going to want to unscrew. And this whole thing will just slide right off. Maybe. There we go. Slide off like that, revealing your reeds and your gaskets that we're going to be replacing right here. Go ahead and inspect these, make sure they're in good condition, there's no chips or cracks on the reeds, and if there are any holes in the reeds, you may need to replace them or rebuild them. Alright, right here is exactly why you go through everything and double check it. We've got a cracked reed valve right there. You can see that. It's completely cracked and broken off. And it's obviously got sucked inside the crankshaft and just burnt up. But yeah, I mean all of them are in just poor condition. There's cracks on the tops of them. I don't know, it's kind of hard to see right there. Focus in. But yeah, there's cracks all over them. And that right there is the worst damage. But yeah, I guess I'll be buying a rebuild kit for the reed valves now. I looked it up on SBT. I can't believe they're $80 just to replace these valves. But anyways, since I don't have that rebuild kit for the reeds yet, I'm going to have to order that tonight. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the top end, start putting the pistons on, hopefully get the cylinders on today now. And yeah, and then once I get that in mail, I'll put that on, get the carburetors rebuilt and put back on. But so far so good, everything's looking good. And I got the new crank in, slowly working our way up. This engine's going to be brand new by the time we invest everything into it. Hopefully she'll run for another 10-15 years, like she has been. Alright, now we're ready to start putting the pistons in. To start, I put one of the C-clamps in the rebuild kit on the piston there, as you can see. These are very tricky to get in. You kind of got to work with them for a little bit. Helps if you kind of use that little groove right there to get it pushed in and use that as a leverage to get it in there. So that's how you do that there. These are standard bore, as you can see by that marking right there. There's also another marking right there that shows the arrow. And for this engine, the arrow is supposed to face the exhaust ports, which is that side right over there. This side's the intakes. So that's very important. You don't want to have this flipped around this way, because then your rings will catch, the ring openings will catch on your ports, and you don't want that to happen. So you get it facing the right way, get your wrist pin here started. You get your bearing already in there. So you get that wrist pin started, slide the cylinder, and slide the piston with the rod. It's kind of hard to do with one hand here, but you kind of just slide it over and get that pushed through, lined up with that hole. And as you can see, I just got the last piston on, and let me tell you, these C-clamps are a nightmare. You really got to be careful. Just slipped and cut my hand open with the screwdriver I was using, try to get them forced in there. But yeah, they're very tricky, so just be careful. Note to self. But yeah, that's pretty much probably where I'm going to stop today. Actually, no, I'll probably go get the cylinders. I'll slide the cylinders on, torque those on, and that's probably all I'll do today. With the new top end kit, we got new piston rings to put on the piston. Back in real quick here. Alright, there is a certain way these go on. If you look at the opening on the rings, they slope down at an angle. See if we can get it to focus in. It's kind of hard to see on camera. There we go. You can see how they slope down inward, and those downward slopes should line up with those pins. So you want it to be like that. So they slope downward and line up with that. The easiest way to get these started is to kind of align it like that. Get that little end stuck in like that. And spin the ring around. Like so. And just do the same with the other one. It's actually easier if I would have started on the bottom one. It'll work. Let's see, make sure this is up the right way. Right. You just want to be very careful with these rings because they're very fragile. You don't want to go breaking them because they're expensive to replace. Very slowly here. Like I said, it would have been much easier for me to do the bottom one first, but holding a camera in my hand, it's easy to get distracted. I had to get two hands to get that in there, so, but yep, now they're all in. It's time to put the cylinders on, take off these paper towels I had sitting here to keep anything falling in, put the new gasket I have on, and we'll be good to go for today. One step closer to finishing this rebuild. It's important to clean both of your surfaces really nicely. You make sure they're extremely clean. This will ensure a very tight seal on the gaskets. You make sure everything's sealed properly so you don't have any leaks in your cylinders. You definitely don't want that. So I'm using acetone to clean off these cylinder heads. Flip it over and get the bottom too. These cylinders are on. It's actually quite a tricky process. You gotta compress all the rings, oil rings on the pistons as you're sliding the cylinder on. So you gotta be careful. It's easier to do with two people. I was able to do it with one after a lot of effort. But yeah, so the cylinder's now on. Got the new gasket in. It's time to put these cylinder nuts on. Handy dandy torque wrench. These are supposed to be 25 foot-pounds each, and the numbering to torque them down is right on the cylinder itself. So it's very convenient. I like how Kawasaki did that. So go ahead and torque them to 25, and I'll be back. I've got the cylinder bolts torqued to spec, and I've got, I don't know if you can see, let's see, I've put some oil, 2-stroke, synthetic, premium 2-stroke oil, and just a little bit at the top of the pistons to kind of coat the new rings and cylinder walls. And I've got both the surfaces for the head cleaned off, ready to put the gasket on. This arrow here faces towards the front, and it says up. You gotta put it down evenly with pressure, else you get stuck on these threads. It's kind of hard to do when you got one hand. Put this on, I'll be right back. Okay, well, it's been a long day working down here in the garage. Got the entire top end put back together. Everything torqued to spec. Turned over the engine by hand, and it feels like it has great compression now. So everything looks good. That's gonna be it for today. I'm gonna call it a night. I just gotta order the new reed valve rebuild kit since the one was cracked, and go from there. Stay tuned for part 2 of the rebuild. See you guys later.